Pokemon is losing the Palworld lawsuit. Thank God. Because the whole reason why they even took this lawsuit out was because the I think like the prior week even they had took out a patent. They took out a patent that would make it to where the thrown ability and capturing using an item was very like specific to the Pokemon game, and they were trying to patent that. And then that's the lawsuit right there.
Pokemon is losing their legal battle with Palworld, according to what we can take from the latest new update in their case with the information we have gleaned. We're to get into that today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be
Yeah,
your own
no, it
judge.
is really stupid. They're just mad that Palworld managed to pull in so much money because it's everything that Pokemon should have been and more.
Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, breaking down these legal issues all over the world. And today we have the fascinating case of Pokemon versus Palworld. This is something that I've actually covered on previous streams. I've covered this in the past. But once again, with these big lawsuits, they often don't have updates for a while. And to
They
give you
don't.
guys a little bit of background on Pokemon versus Palworld, well, unless you live under a rock, you know about Pokemon, which is obviously a massive
Nintendo is just so they're so like they're Greetendo now, dude. They're no longer Nintendo. They're Greetendo, and they keep their living going by using the fan base that they had since they were kids. They keep these adult children now that are willing to buy these consoles for their kids, even though there's a chance that it could be bricked and it's incredibly overpriced on top of that. Like,
franchise, and it's owned between Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. And then you've got Palworld, which is owned by Pocket Pair, and it is really focused on PC. Now, this is very important because one of the big things overall for Pokemon is they've been real console, let's say, loyalists, or you might even
mhm.
say zealots for the consoles. They really
Yeah, they don't. I don't even think you can get. I think you have to. I think it's kind of a headache to try and get some of these games on PC. The
don't
Pokemon
believe
games.
in PC. And they've been pretty hardcore in keeping anything Pokemon like from entering the PC sphere, which is why
They're
they
trying to do the
always
same thing
kind
with
of
other consoles as well. Obviously, I mean they don't. They want Pokemon to be specifically on their consoles so that way they could make it exclusive.
had an eye on Palworld and why one of the reasons why they took this shot. But the background is Nintendo and Pokemon Company, they filed a case for patent infringement against Palworld
That's
Pocket
crazy.
Pair September 18, 2024. Now, this is very, very important, and a lot of people miss the ball here. A lot of people think it's copyright, they think it's the
No, it's
ideas or
infringement.
the designs. This is not about the specific designs, and this is not about the ideas. This is about the patents.
Yep.
So Nintendo filed these patents and is claiming infringement of certain very specific patents. And
Uh, the fact that you could even do this is absolutely fucking crazy. They should. There is no reason why you should patent any kind of gameplay mechanic ever. That hurts the space and it hurts the freedom of making things. It's garbage, and they should get rid of it.
that's a really narrowly focused piece of litigation. And now they're claiming they violate obviously several patents, not just one. And Nintendo wants an injunction to stop the sale of Palworld and monetary damages. So pretty much to kill the game. So to kill the game and recoup any money that Pocket Pair, Palworld made from the game. That's pretty
The
much
reason why this kicked up such a storm is because Nintendo's lawyer team, I guess, has never lost a case. Anytime they've taken out a case, they've always won it. Now this could be big if they lose. If Palworld wins, this could be a big W for games. If Palworld loses, this could be really bad because then you're going to have a bunch of these companies trying to take out patents on everything, and they're absolutely going to destroy the gaming space as we know it.
that's very scary because obviously you can see the consequence for other game companies, smaller game companies.
Mhm.
If Nintendo is allowed to put down Palworld, there will never be, I think, at least for a while, there won't be anything that comes close or near Pokemon. But we've got some updates here. So obviously, some of the patents that people talked about, one of the most obvious is the catching mechanic with the
Yep.
ball. That's one of the things that Pokemon included in their lawsuit as an infringing patent. However, Palworld has a defense. Palworld's defense is that these patents were never infringed in the first place. They argue that, not only did they not infringe the patents, but the patents themselves are likely not even valid. If you look,
Yeah, because they did this before they were even guaranteed the patents. Another thing is like they didn't exist when the game was being made. So like, how's it like? That's like if Call of Duty made multiplayer and it was out for like 5 years, and then another person made a multiplayer game, but then all of a sudden Call of Duty didn't like how much money that game was making, so they filed patents like a week prior to them suing the new game company, and it's like, dude, you can't just do that. That's not how it works.
at the validity of these patents, some of them are ambiguous. They're kind of too broad. They're not in any way violating them on a technical basis. It's not something they have kind of technical exclusivity over, and they're violating
Yeah,
that.
they're too.
So that's Palworld's defense, and they've been pretty consistent on that. And the other thing they've done, and which is brilliant, is they've changed the mechanics. And what this does is, while Palworld and Pokemon, both Japanese companies, may have a stronger case, Nintendo may have a stronger case in Japan under Japanese law, under US law, and mind you, the majority of the users for Palworld are in the United
US,
States.
yeah.
That's really what Nintendo wants, is to get them hit in the United States. Changing those mechanics is frustrating what's called a good faith basis claim in US courts under US copyright law.
Yep.
So by Palworld making those decisions to change things, to modify certain mechanics, that actually is frustrating them in the US. I know a lot of people think Palworld was backing down, but they're actually were being smart there. They were playing the long game. They're saying, hey, they're attacking us and they want our US customers. Look, if it ended up a situation where Palworld was banned in Japan, that really wouldn't hurt their overall market. If they could still
would
go
be
to the US,
America.
Europe,
Yeah.
Canada, everywhere else in the world, it's not really going to matter too much. The Japanese domestic market isn't going to make or break Palworld. However, the US would. The US certainly would. So they frustrated them on that side. So Pokemon had to counter that, because now their claims, their patent infringement claims, are weak in their primary market. So they're saying, okay, let's try to change something up. Because of course, Nintendo has a massive legal team, and they have been known, their tactic is to sue people until they're penniless, to
Yep.
go after them.
But they can't really do that to Palworld because Palworld already made a lot of money. So like, they're kind of like two titans fighting it out now at this point.
Every spec of their legal resources to crush them. Very similar to Disney and other very, very large corporations that are kind of the industry leaders in their specific areas. So the mechanic they specifically modified is actually, it's kind of related to the gliding mechanic, but it's smooth switching of writing objects. So they went to the Japanese patent office
really
recently,
stupid.
and they changed the patent language regarding smooth switching of writing objects. Now, it's very interesting because they didn't make it more clear. They actually added a bunch of legal gobbledygook. We call it legalese, right? They just added some kind of extra superfluous language, including very ambiguous words like even when.
So not only if they take out the patent, they can change it at any time. That's bullshit.
Which isn't really used in, especially in patent drafting. I rarely ever use even when in contract drafting. It's just something that you really don't use because there's other ways you can say things that creates more ambiguity. Now, why would they do this? Well, it's extremely rare to modify your patents, particularly.
I didn't even know you could once you filed it. I thought it was done. I didn't think you could just go in and modify anything.
Mid-litigation. It's not something you would normally do. It's a very odd move, because if you're modifying your patent, what does that mean? Well, what does that mean? Shock Pikachu face. Nintendo is not doing good. Nintendo is actually thinking they're going to take the L. So they realize they not only have a weak case in the US due to the modifications, but they may actually lose their patents. Their patents could be declared invalid. So because of that risk, they're trying to throw out some confusion, some ambiguity, some delay. This is something very common in general as a litigation tactic, particularly if you have a lot of resources. what you try to do is win the procedural victory. Sometimes, let's say the smaller party has justice on their side. We're going to call that the substance of the law. The heart of the law is on the side of the small guy. It's on the side of the underdog. But the big guy has something the small guy doesn't have, and that's money.
Yeah.
And when you've got money, you can win a procedural victory. Often this happens by dragging out litigation so long, it becomes costly for the person on the other side, the
That's
smaller
why
party, and therefore they
So that's why whenever you do a countersuit to somebody, even if you're on the defense, always countersue. I like countersue them for legal costs, countersue them for damages, straight up. Countersue them for everything you can. Cuz if they win, then they win, and what happens happens. But if you win, if you just so happen to win, and you have to throw every dime you can at it, and you know that there's a good chance like a chance you might win, then you've covered yourself. You don't have to stress about it as much.
have to give up because they're literally being drained dry by litigation and they cannot do it any longer. And that's what Pokemon is doing here. Now, I do think that Palworld so far has seen that they have the wherewithal to get through this and not try to settle it out or get something.
No, I wouldn't settle it either. Fuck that. Take it to court. If there is even a chance they could win this, they need to take it to court.
Position. I think Palworld may be able to fight this, but this is really bad news showing Nintendo doing this. It is an obvious intimidation tactic against small developers, indie developers, showing that Nintendo is committed to litigation and they will sue you all the way to Johto, right? If they feel like you are coming even close to anything Pokemon or
it doesn't even have to do with that. They saw that this company, Palworld, made a way more successful Pokemon because they weren't bogged down by all these other writers and directors trying to keep it kid friendly crap and micromanaging the player to the point where you couldn't even do anything. And they made all this money because they didn't have that implemented into the game. And Nintendo didn't like that because I don't know what it is with these big game developers, man. Like Sony's kind of bad is on the same boat for micromanaging its players. Like a micromanaging would be like if something makes sense and it makes a mechanic easier to do, but then you can't do it. That's a micromanage. Like if I could climb the ladder just to get, instead of having to platform over, if I see a ladder and I can just climb up the ladder to get to the top of the level, and they have made it to where you can't place a ladder down to get up there, that's micromanaging. They don't want you to do that. They want you to go through the BS. So many big companies do that, and they're doing this because they're jealous that Palworld made 5 times the amount of money off of an actually really good Pokemon style game as opposed to the actual Pokemon. In all honesty, it's embarrassing for Nintendo. Like, that should be a wake-up call for anyone who's a Nintendo kid. Straight up, like, that should be a wake-up call.
Or
there are better games you could play that are indie. There just are.
Market share, or even going on PC with something that's Pokemon-esque. It's really something that they're flexing, saying, hey, look, small creators, indie devs, we will sue you, we will drain you, we will fight this out. You may not be a Palworld. Maybe Palworld will win. And this is actually looking like Palworld may very well win this.
Mm-hmm.
But small guys will still crush you. So Nintendo being Nintendo, very interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next.
That was a great one. That was a good one. Check him out, Legal Mindset.